Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's energy update for November 12th to the 19th. My name is Rebecca.meisl, and if this is your first time joining me, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. So excited to dive into these collective themes and energies to see what wants to come through for us this week. So we have a really beautiful week ahead. I must say there is some real triumphant energies that are coming through, and I feel like so many of us are just taking that sigh of relief where it's like, finally. We've really been having some heavy themes. We've had some really heavy introspective weeks where a lot of us have had a lot of purging, a lot of shadow work, a lot of just deep healing that we have been really working through. And I feel like so many of us are just like, okay, I'm ready to be done. And what's so beautiful about this week ahead is we've got a lot of finality, a lot of closure coming in, a lot of clarity that has been coming in. And I feel like with this new moon that's happening this weekend, a lot of us will be getting that clarity around these core wounds, around what has been lingering beneath the surface, and if you have not already. And this full moon is bringing in so much beauty when it comes to our next chapter this week. So really tune into the energies of the full moon this week. Once you've done that introspective work, once you've really gotten a lot of your clarity around your core wounds, really utilize this fresh new energy with this new moon, which is so potent for manifestations, which is so potent for us to be really moving into what is next for us and making our wishes known and intentions known, that it's going to be very powerful. So our first theme moving into the week is invest in yourself. This is such a beautiful theme because, like I just said, we've gone through a lot of heaviness. A lot of us have been really working hard, and it might have felt like a real struggle the past few weeks. So what I'm hearing is it's time to really look after you and look after yourself well. So do not hold back this week from really investing in yourself. So what came through was invest time, invest energy, invest funds. How can you put yourself really first? You know, so many of us have gotten illumination to where we haven't been. I feel like a lot of us have had health issues coming up. We've had a lot of physical healing as well that has been coming through for us. And so a lot of us might have been really tired. A lot of us might be really achy or just not feeling well. And we need to really look after ourselves this next week to really make sure that we are putting in that time and effort. So what was beautiful as well was the question that was posed. What would life look like if you were the main focus? What would need to change to make that happen? So we're going to get this awareness this week. And don't be surprised if little things come to the surface and come to your awareness this week around where you're not putting yourself first, where you're not investing in yourself, where you are not putting in the time and attention that you and your body needs. So I'm seeing a lot of this toxicity rise to the surface this week, where it's like where we've been stuck in the struggle and strive as an example, or the go, very masculine energy, and we're needing to get this hard stop. We're needing to find the balance. We're needing to come into our divine feminine energy and slow down this week and really meet our needs. So if resentment comes up this week for you, if you notice that you're triggered by overstep boundaries, if you notice that, hey, I'm really tired, or, oh, I'm not feeling well, these are all signals and signs from ourselves, from our bodies, from the universe saying, hey, you are not putting proper boundaries in, my dear. Hey, you need to stop and look after you right now. So we have to really take stock. We've done a lot of healing. We've gone through a lot of transformation and change recently. A lot of us have gone through like life-changing epiphanies, life-changing transformation the past few weeks. So we gotta give ourselves grace, okay? So this is what's really coming in, is we need to reduce our stress this week. We need to slow down, and we need to really look at how we need to put ourselves first. So we need to put in boundaries this week, okay? If there's people that are draining in your life, put a boundary in. If you know that you're going to overdo it by overcrowding your schedule, then put a boundary in. If you say yes when you really want to say no, you can always change your mind, right? We got to take these steps that are very vital for us to protect our health, which is protecting our wealth, right? And the next step with this is doing things that really revitalize you this week. So taking the time, right? So sometimes when we hear the word invest, we immediately think like finances, but it doesn't have to be that. It could very well be investing your time and energy into self-care. It could be, well, I'm going to carve out an hour for me to take a bath and to relax and zone out and actually rest. Not rest where you're busy thinking and worrying and planning, but actual rest where you can actually just be, right? So we need to look at those investments in a new light as well. So where do you need to invest more time? Where do you need to invest more energy into yourself? And that might look like a new fitness regime. That might look like some yoga. It might look like investing some funds into those types of things that help heal you. You know, booking sessions, going for Reiki, getting a massage. Those are all things that are very vital for us and our bodies. So really check in with yourself this week. What am I really needing? Like, how can I meet my needs, and how can I invest in myself to meet those needs, okay? So back to these questions. How can you put yourself first? And what would life look like if you were the main focus? What would need to change to make that happen, okay? This is so wonderful to ponder, because a lot of times, especially as light workers, and I've talked about this so often, we tend to really put everyone else above ourselves, okay? So maybe you came into the world and life was never about you. Maybe your life is always centered around what everyone else's wants, needs, and desires were. And they're really bringing this awareness into where we have been really caught up in the needs of others and not our own needs. So they're even giving us this example of taking a moment and actually going there mentally and going, okay, if I was fully alone right now, if it was just me that I had to worry about, if I didn't have to worry about my family, if I didn't have to worry about my work, my coworkers, my friends, if the world literally was just about me, how would things change? What would I be doing right now? How would I be meeting my needs? And where would I be pursuing joy? Where would I be pursuing things that I really want to do? And they're showing where we've held ourselves back from really doing the things we've wanted to do, almost out of courtesy. And it's funny because they're really giving me this example how some of us, we might be stuck in the people pleasing, right? Where it's like, well, it would take too much time away from this individual, from my partner, from my family, from my obligations, right? And they're like, so? They're like, you can absolutely do both. And sometimes we make these excuses of why we can't live a love-based life, why we can't put ourselves first. And we're a master manipulator for ourselves sometimes, where it's just like, oh no, I don't have time for that. But guess what? It's all about your priorities. So this is where we really need to get this awareness. So give yourself a moment and daydream about that. What would life look like if it did revolve around me? If I didn't have obligations? If I didn't have to worry about anyone else? What would that look like? And get very clear on that. Like, get a full picture of how life would change. And that's your starting point. And what's amazing about this is they're like, this is what's going to help propel this new chapter for you. is really getting the clarity around what your life needs to look like and what you want it to look like and shaping it accordingly. So they're showing me like someone, carving a sculpture. And it's like with each tap of the tool, we're making a new groove. We're making a new dent, so to speak. We're sculpting a new look of that piece. And so just like that sculpture being our life, it's like, what grooves do I need to carve now? What needs to shift and change and be molded so I can make this a masterpiece? So I can make this the way I want it to look, that fulfills me, that inspires awe and beauty and fulfillment and authenticity, right? So we need to be very mindful. We are the artist. We are the crafter of our lives. So if there's things that are not resonating, then we need to carve it out. We need to shift it. We need to change it. And we have the tools in our hands, right? At any time we can change things. So this is what we're being asked to do, is how can we change things in a positive way and really get clarity around what that specifically is. What specifically needs to change, okay? So some of us might have actually been very divinely guided in being put on pause. Some of us, we hate that. We think we're going so full in one direction. We're so excited about the future, and then maybe everything just came to a dead stop. And they're saying that it was guided. It was necessary. You've been needing to be put on pause for a while. So you can really work out your next steps. So you can really work out, what is it I really want? Who am I now? How have things changed? What do I want this next chapter to be? And we can really see now how that's very loving, right? When we have children, we want to keep them from making mistakes, right? Sometimes we almost overdo it, but in the sense of like, well, what's the loving thing to do? I want my child to really figure out its next steps, where it wants to go to school, where my child wants to go from here in their lives, and I want to give them the satisfaction of coming to their own conclusions, right? So very similarly, our heavenly parents are doing that. Our spiritual team, our universe, is giving us this gift of choice, of free will, of giving us this pause to really go into what you want before you jump in and make the next decision. And that will change the course of your life, right? So moving from there, we have this beautiful theme of slow down, but also really coming into ease and grace, because they're giving me this example of so many of us having to fight. And they're showing me like the sword in hand, going to battle with life. And that can literally be what life feels like sometimes. Like we're in an uphill battle. We're constantly needing to fight tooth and nail just to make it through the day, just to survive. And many of us are being really bombarded with that mindset right now, with so many things that are going on in the world, with the economy, with all these things. A lot of us are being very bombarded with these themes that everything is going wrong, right? Everything's a battle. Everything's in shambles. And we need to really be mindful of having boundaries with that, because we're really seeing this theme of fighting for happiness, fighting for peace, fighting for all of these things. And it's a fight. And what's coming through this week is, no, do not fight. This is not the way to achieve fulfillment. This is not the way to achieve happiness and the life that you desire, and the peace that we desire. And we have to be very aware of where we ourselves are perpetuating that energy. Where are we fighting? Where are we striving? Okay, so what channeled was, stop fighting for happiness. Striving is not the way. Create peace, create harmony and tranquility. Move gently, with ease, with grace. Happiness is attained through following your joy, being present, having peace, connection, and release. Are you doing these things? Okay, so this was wonderful because once again, we're really being called to get out of the struggle and strive mentality. So we get fed this a lot as well when it comes to, as an example, our careers. You have to fight to the top. You have to, top dog mentality, right? Who cares about anything else? You got to really go all in. We see that mentality all the time, and it's very glorified. But guess what? Everything else tends to go out the window. It's like career first, everything else second, including yourself, including your care, including your relationships. But those are the things that really fulfill us. So we see this disbalance that happens a lot. And we have to be very mindful of the mentalities that we are bringing into this new chapter. So where are we stuck on the wheel of consistent struggle and strive? Where are we fighting for happiness? And this is so key because once again, it's like, well, I have to really hustle. I have to really work hard. I have to really forfeit my needs right now so I can reach this destination of happiness, right? Because whatever that goal is, whatever our destination is, that's what we ultimately think is going to give us happiness, right? So as an example, once I reach this goal of becoming a famous artist, or once I reach this goal of getting married, or when I reach this goal of XYZ, that's what's going to give me happiness in the future, right? So it's okay if I'm not happy right now. It's okay if I sacrifice right now, right? This is a mentality we can really have ingrained in us. And guess what? It's wrong. And that's what's really coming through the surface this week. No. It's the opposite. We need to focus on our joy, our contentment, our peace, the ease and grace now to create that in the future. So when we're stuck in the struggle and strive mentality, guess what? That's our vibration now. So if our vibration is admitting struggle and strive, well, guess what? We're just going to keep manifesting. More struggle, more strive. If we're immediately getting into the hard work and forfeiting our needs, not caring for ourselves, not looking after and fulfilling our relationships, all these other aspects of our lives, well, then that's just going to keep propelling. So once again, what we are is what we attract. So this is where it's important, that question, are you doing these things regularly? Are you filling your cup regularly? Are you participating in joy regularly? Are you following your bliss regularly? Are you being present in your life? Are you having peace and connectivity in your life? These are the things that matter. Okay? These are the things that really matter. This is what's going to give you joy and happiness now and bring that through in the future. So what channeled next was, it's time to create. The life and destination is here, in the now, not later. Remaster your mind. Reel in future-based thinking. What if this was the last moment of your life? What would you be doing? What regrets would you have? And how would you be spending your last moments here? Remember the preciousness of life. Recall your power and release the illusions society has created. What if all of your problems were imaginary in this game of life? Reattune to what matters most. This was so beautiful. So once more, where do we need to do this self-analysis? Where do we need to reprioritize and really get clarity about what really matters? Where do we need to reel in this fear-based thinking, this future-based thinking? And I love that because so many of us get trapped in that, where we're constantly living and fighting for the future, but we're never enjoying and experiencing the now. So even when you get to that destination, are you really going to be able to enjoy it, right? And that's where we need to remaster our minds. We need to reprogram and let ourselves come to this awareness. So moving from that theme, we have a gorgeous theme of cultivating family. This was so beautiful. So a lot of us have had a lot of family wounds. I feel like all of us do, right? Every single person has had a wound from family life. These are the pivotal relationships we come into this universe with that really shape and define our life story. And what was so interesting is a lot of us might have had these wounds come to the surface recently. And I'm really getting the mother line. A lot of us have been doing a lot of mother healing and healing those wounds. So what was beautiful is this week we are releasing the need for the anguish and sorrow of the past. And that really was themed around our family lives. And what channeled next is we are reclaiming the family that is truly ours. So we might be in a situation where maybe we're not connecting with our blood family. Maybe we're not connecting the way we used to. Maybe our relationships have shifted and changed. They're giving me this example of someone who maybe grew up in a very toxic family, and as you've progressed and healed yourself and advanced spiritually, you're just noticing that your relationships have changed. They're just not the same. You're not resonating in the way you used to, or even the way you want to, right? A lot of times it's very hard for us to admit when our blood family is really not good for us, is really not who our true family is. And that can be very painful. So they're honoring that. They're like, we might have had a lot of pain when it came to our family. And this is really coming up where there's anguish, where there is pain and wounding from our family. So that might come up this week for us. But what's so beautiful is we're learning to claim the people who really are our family, soul family. Okay? The people who do love and support you, the people who want to see you thrive. Okay? Now, what really came through was worthiness. So some of us might be feeling unworthy of the good relationships in our lives. Maybe we've had this wound around unworthiness, undeservingness, and that's coming through this week. So we might have that. So be very mindful of where you're actually sabotaging good relationships in your life because you don't feel worthy of them. Because you're like, well, no, I've never had this. I don't know how to accept love. I don't feel deserving of this amazing person in my life. And subconsciously, we might actually be doing things to sabotage that connection. So they're giving me the example of distance. So like, maybe you don't reach out. Maybe you don't connect. Maybe you're always busy, right? But where do we need to prioritize those connections that are good for us and recognize that that is actually, we're actually worthy of these connections. And that's why they're there. They're there to remind us how beautiful and worthy we are. So give yourself time this week to reflect on the positive relationships in your lives and really make the conscious effort to connect with them because they're so good for you. And they're just showing me like just lighting up, lighting up. It's like, oh my God, I just love you so much. And there's this beautiful connectedness and exchange that happens. And it's like, there's so much emotion as I speak this because they're making me feel like, wow, I have this person in my life. Wow, I get to have someone who actually loves me for all of me, and how special that is and how sacred that is. And so they're really saying, focus there. Release the need to rehash the past of your family wounding. Prioritize the people that really are there for you now. And it's so beautiful because we're beginning to thrive. We're beginning to really start seeing we do deserve this. Okay? So that might highlight where we've had bad treatment in the past, right? Because sometimes when we're actually treated good and we're treated in a fulfilling and beautiful way that is good for us, we sometimes get this aha moment of like, wow, I was really treated badly. I was like putting up with some real stuff I shouldn't have been putting up with. And we might have this highlighted this week where we have these light bulb moments, like where we so were in our self-love and where we were with our boundaries and tolerating bad treatment. And we might have this illuminated this week. But we're really getting this awareness around how we are worth so much more. And the people you fret over, the people you worry over from the past that hurt you, that aren't deserving of you, you're starting to recognize it like, I don't want to partake in that anymore. I deserve so much more than going back to that pain, than worrying about people who will never worry about me, than putting all this effort into someone who does not love me the way I deserve, right? So we're actually getting this complete makeover in our self-love, and we're upgrading our connections massively because of our self-love, because of this increase in awareness. And this is healing. This is so healing for our lineage as well, because they're really showing me as we grow in our self-love, we're healing so much of our ancestry with that, where a lot of our ancestors were not given that opportunity. And there's so much gratitude that I feel. There's so much love that is coming through, and thankfulness, where it's like, thank you for healing this trauma. Thank you for healing these family wounds that so needed to be healed. So we're seeing we no longer need to feed into the pain. We're seeing where we need boundaries, and we're releasing the need for this pain. Okay? And we're recognizing that when we have pain, when we have challenges, when we have conflict, it's actually because we needed it. And as hard as that is to understand sometimes in the moment, it is the truth. We needed it to heal something, to come to this awareness of, wow, I need to heal this wound. Or, wow, I need to have more self-love. I need to have more self-respect. And we recognize our wounds actually are so healing for us when we choose to look at them and see how they benefit us, how they propelled us, how they made us stronger. And what's so beautiful is we're now releasing the need for those wounds. We're healing them because we no longer need them. The more we step into love, the more we fulfill ourselves, the more we choose ourselves, we no longer need a lesson in self-respect. We no longer need a lesson in deservingness because we're stepping into our power. So we're freeing ourselves. So what channeled was, you can see these wounds clearly now, and you can set them free. Set you free once and for all. So we're letting go of judgment, and we're releasing the need to take things personal anymore. We're releasing guilt. We're releasing shame. We're saying goodbye to all of those things that do not deserve us anymore. And we're becoming proud and open with who we are. Okay, this was so beautiful. So beautiful. We're honoring these lessons. We're blessing them. We're thanking them, and we're letting them go. We're setting them free. I don't need this lesson anymore. I've learned my lesson. I've learned what I needed to learn. I've healed what I've needed to heal. And I'm moving on. I don't need to take things personally anymore. I don't need to let this judgment, this mark against me, define the rest of my life. I don't need to let what other people think of me, what my own family thinks of me, when I put in these boundaries, when I step into my power and my self-respect, I don't need to take on those judgments. I am free. I have power, right? And it's so healing. So as a result, we're seeing the full expanse of our soul's journey, and we're finally landing on this understanding of why all the things happen in our lives the way they did. You know, we might have felt through our experience withheld from. Maybe we felt like the universe was punishing us. Maybe we could never get ahead. Maybe we had these stories. But we're seeing now with this big picture why we needed those things to happen the way they did. We needed to learn those lessons. We needed to heal those core wounds. And those things triggered those core wounds, right? Those experiences triggered all the healing that was necessary. We needed to be in every single space we were in throughout our life's journey. And as we get this enlightenment, it's freeing. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't need to begrudge my experience anymore. I don't need to look back and be like, oh my God, that's so painful. That's so hurtful. How could this happen? How could the universe do this to me? We're taking this completely new perspective and we're like, wow, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful I had these experiences because this is who I am now. Look at how they shaped and molded me. Look at how these things impacted me in such a large way that I'm now stepping into my greatness, right? So we're getting this higher perspective. We're seeing why. And it can be as simple as our souls came in. They assigned themselves this assignment, your life, your family, because it wanted to heal the karma. It wanted to heal the lineage. Our soul took that on. It went, I'll go. I'll do it. This family needs healing. I need healing. I want to heal these karmic cycles. I want to heal this lineage. I will do it. That's what your soul said when it chose your experience. I'm going to come there. I'm going to go to earth. I will go through this pain. I will go through these struggles. I will go through these challenges because I know that I'm willing to heal these wounds. And we're breaking the cycles. We're clearing the karma. We're releasing all this pain. And when we think of that, that's massive. Think of all the pain your ancestors have endured. Think of all the pain you have endured in your past incarnations. Think about the suppression that we have endured throughout history. Look at what you're healing. Really feel into that. Feel the gravity of that. When you choose yourself, when you love yourself, when you move into your greatness, when you move into the full expression of yourself, that's what you're doing. You are breaking generations of toxicity, of cycles of shame, guilt, suppression. You are freeing your ancestors. You volunteered to do it, and you're doing it. You've done it. And you deserve to be so celebrated for all of your sacrifices, for all of your challenges, for all of your pain, because guess what? You didn't give up. You kept going. You're here. You've made it. You've created this beautiful life for yourself. And if not, you're doing it now. You're going, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to give up now. Right? Don't give up now. You're meant to do this. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. And if you go to your soul, you know it. You know you're here with a purpose. So really celebrate and honor yourself in your journey. This week, it's so important to celebrate the magnitude of what you've been doing. It's so important to celebrate yourself and all that you bring to this world, whether you recognize it or not. This is where we need to start recognizing it. And we need to stay optimistic. We need to hold on to our faith. Things are getting better. Things are changing. Okay? Even if we've been through really tough stuff the past few months, things are changing. We're breaking cycles. We're releasing massive lessons. Okay? So honor all of it. Honor the pain. Honor yourself. Because your life is never going to be the same unless you let it. And that's the choice. They're showing me paths. It's our choice. We have free will. We can continue the old story. We can continue choosing that path, or we can choose new. But I feel like we're choosing the new, right? Let's take that leap of faith, okay? You have grown into the leader. You have grown into who you've been meant to be. You are rising. You are whole. And what's so beautiful is they're showing me this missing piece of our soul being returned. It's coming back to ourselves now. We're reclaiming the wholeness of ourselves. It's so powerful. It just gives me the chills. Celebrate it. Celebrate this accomplishment. Celebrate this reclamation of yourself. And recognize you don't need to earn goodness anymore. We're cultivating this self-love. We're cultivating complete acceptance of ourselves. So move into that. What is possible for me now? Now that I've done this huge healing, now that I have released these cycles and these lessons, what's possible for me now? Make a wish. Set intentions. What do I now want this next chapter to be? It was so beautiful. I heard a call to action. Your new life starts now. Release deep-rooted fears of being seen. Step forward. Go all in and take the leap. So beautiful. So what is required for you to live a fulfilling life? What changes need to be made so you can truly love yourself? How can you take care of yourself better? How can you simplify? How can you let yourself receive? How can you allow yourself joy and adventure every day? How can you slow down? How can you meet your needs? Allow yourself beautiful, warm, loving connections and know you're deserving of it. What a beautiful change. What a beautiful shift we are doing. And you can do it, my friends. I wholeheartedly believe in you. You can do this. You can take the leap into this new experience for yourself. And it starts now. Now. In this present moment. It's so precious. Own it. Take it. Thrive in it. Do what you love. If this was your final incarnation here, how do you want to remember it? So my friends, that's all I have for this week. I really hope you enjoyed the reading as much as I did. I just feel such a positive momentum coming forward for us, and I cannot wait to see what this next chapter brings for each and all of us. So I'm sending you so much love. If you need help this week, if you need a session, if this is something you feel called to invest in, please connect with me. I also have a buy donation day that I've set aside for the 25th of this month, and I do have some slots still available. So if this is something that you feel called to do, please connect with me. I'm really feeling into these buy donation sessions. So I might actually be doing this maybe once a month or once every few months to give everyone an opportunity to see what a session's like with me. I basically will be doing a shortened version of my deep healing sessions. So these sessions will be 20 to 30 minutes in duration, where I will be sending you Reiki, I'll be channeling your guides, and then we pull a little oracle card at the end, and have a little bit of time to chat about what came through for you. So if this is something you do feel called to, let me know. Slots are really filling up quick, so let me know if this is something you'd like to try, or if you just want to book a full healing session. You can absolutely check out my offerings on my website, Rebecca.meisl.com. So I hope I get to meet some of you, some new faces, and I'm sending you all so much love. Have a beautiful, blessed week, friends. Bye.